we directed the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to withdraw the certificate of return it issued to Uba and issue a fresh one to Obinna Uzo of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), who came second in the poll. It would be recalled that Uba had approached the court to set aside the judgment, which he insisted to keep position. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has resolved to set up a committee to review the outcome of the 2019 general elections and other elections after it. This was part of the communique at the end of the 87th National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Eliminating electoral violence and a retrospective look at the January 14 Supreme Court judgment on the Imo State governorship election. Top deliberations at this meeting attended by the ousted Imo State Governor, Emeka Ihedioha. Former Vice President and the party's candidate in the 2019 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, puts up the idea of the committee, which was adopted by the meeting.
As true Democrats, we conceded power to the opposition. I would like to propose that a strong committee to review the last elections and recommend to the party needed reforms and address the challenges in the last elections be set up forthwith.
PDP National Chairman Uche Secondus and other speakers assured Nigerians of the party's commitment towards the defense of democracy and its institutions. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Away from that, President Muhammadu Buhari has left Abuja for London, the British capital, ahead of inaugural UK-Africa Investment Summit beginning on Monday. The president, accompanied by the governors of Abia, Gombe and Kogi states, was seen off at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by Minister of the FCT Command, Musa Bello, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, Permanent Secretary of the State House, Jalal Arabi, Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, and other senior government officials. The London Investment Summit is expected to create new partnerships that will deliver more investment and jobs to the benefit of the people and businesses in African countries and the United Kingdom. Apart from highlighting new perspectives on UK-Africa partnership for prosperity, issues of sustainable finance and infrastructure, trade and investment, future African growth sectors and clean energy will also dominate discussions at the summit. With the expected takeoff of the African Continental Free Trade Area this year, the summit will provide Nigeria with the opportunity to project itself as a leading investment destination for new industries, as well as deepen Nigeria-United Kingdom investment ties post-Brexit era. While in the United Kingdom, President Buhari and his delegation will have bilateral meetings with the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, as well as heads of multilateral organizations. This is the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. When we return, U.S. President impeachment trial and other stories. Stay with us.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
It's glad to know you're still there. Republicans are now on the spot as U.S. Senate braces for impeachment trial of President Donald Trump. Adebola Brooks-Sende has been following the proceedings.
100 lawmakers of the U.S. Senate have been sworn in as jurors for the impending impeachment trial of President Donald Trump.
Will all senators now stand and raise their right hand?
Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts, administered oath to the senators to do impartial justice. In the coming weeks, the senators will decide whether Mr. Trump should be removed from office following the charges brought by the House of Representatives. The trial is scheduled to begin on the 21st of January. Mr. Trump is accused of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. An independent Independent Federal Watchdog, the Government Accountability Office, found that Mr. Trump's administration broke the law when it withheld millions of dollars in security assistance to Ukraine, citing violation of a 1974 law that protects spending decision of Congress.
If Trump is removed from office, is going to scuttle the American democracy and is going to impact heavily on global democratic practice. And I believe the Americans are very aware of this.
The White House Budget Office rejected the findings, while Mr. Trump denied wrongdoing and branded the case against him as falsehood. However, President Trump's fates, who says he wants a short trial, now rests with a Senate controlled by 53 Republicans, many of whom have already dismissed the charges against him out of hand.
President Donald J. Trump, I believe, will survive the attempt to remove him from office, because those that support or determine who wins elections in America are the hawks, the realists, those that control global diplomacy, using the military approach, using the power approach. They sustain the military-industrial complex. They have the money, and I believe they will bankroll the Trump administration and influence his re-election come November this year.
White House officials and senior senators have predicted the trial will last 2 to 6 weeks. The impeachment trial of former President Bill Clinton was 5 weeks long. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Many thanks, Adebola. And for more stories on the foreign scene, let's join Uche Ugochukwu.
You're welcome. United Nations Human Rights Chief Michelle Bachelet has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities in Idlib, Syria, lamenting the latest ceasefire had failed to protect civilians. About 350,000 Syrians, mostly women and children, have fled following a renewed Russian-backed offensive in the opposition-held Idlib province since early December, forcing them to seek shelter in border areas near Turkey. Reports say Germany and the United Nations will push rival Libyan camps and their foreign backers fighting over the capital to agree on Sunday to a truce and monitoring mechanism as first steps towards peace. But the meeting in Berlin at Chancellor Angela Merkel's headquarters failed to broker power sharing between the Eastern-based forces and the internationally recognized government in Tripoli. And Ukrainian Prime Minister Oleksiy Honcharuk tendered his resignation on Friday after an audio recording suggested he had criticized the president. Speculations over Honcharuk's position has grown this week after a recording of a man discussing Zelensky's purported lack of knowledge of economics was circulated on messaging channels, apparently at a meeting of the Prime Minister, Finance Minister, and the National Bank of Ukraine in December. Meanwhile, Honcharuk said the recording had been doctored and was made up of different fragments of what had been said at government meetings. That's it from this end. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Let's talk agriculture now. The Cross River State Government, Central Bank of Nigeria, and Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria have signed a multi-billion naira contract to supply rice seedlings to rice farmers from the Rice Seeds and Seedlings Factory at the Ayade Industrial Park, Calabar. Paul Eber reports that the signing of the MOU preceded the official national flag off of the 2020 dry season rice farming program in Nigeria.
One of the cardinal people-oriented policies of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration is the agricultural diversification agenda, which Cross River State embraced. Today, that act has endeared the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, to seal a deal with the signing of the contract. With the signing over at the State Executive Chambers, Calabar, the entire RIFAN National Executive and the CBN moved to the Ayade Industrial Park for the official flag-off of the 2020 dry season rice farming program in Nigeria. Speaker after speaker praised the Cross River State government for evolving in the rice value chain, thus making the state an economic viable hub. They call for an extension of the initiative to cocoa, oil palm, cotton, among others, while commending the state government for the agricultural foresight to boost the nation's economy and making adequate preparation to support the agenda of the dry season farming.
If you're looking at working capital to drive this kind of thing, we'll give you just as we have done with the Cross River State government.
We are confident today that the flag off that took place here is really not a political one, and we are sure that it will be 100% success.
When we become self-reliant in terms of food security, then we can think of technology. Agro-industrial level is the first step.
The entourage was taken round on a guided tour to some agricultural machineries and agro-industrial factories at the Ayade Industrial Park.
I am Paul Abel, NTA News.
In another development, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources has assured Nigerians a better service delivery through effective care in a responsive manner in line with its mandate. Tafawa Hamza Mayo reports that this was at the opening of the 4th quarterly meeting of Servicom local officers of the agencies under the ministry.
These are Servicom focal officers from the 12 river basin development authorities in the country. They are in Yola to brainstorm on how to improve service delivery.
We go around our project offices, we gather our customers, the contractors, the Water Users Association, the farmers. We gather them, then we enlighten them more.
Through ethics, when you have the right attitude, then service is going to be delivered.
At the end, the focal officers maintain that good service delivery provides clients an increase in value, knowing that public service needs positive and right attitude. In Yola, Tafawa Hamza Mayo, NTA News.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has sent a message of congratulations to newlyweds Muhammad Garba Shehu and Zuwaira Omar Farouk, urging them to learn to be patient with one another. In a letter to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the father of the groom, the First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, said she will continue to pray for the success of the marriage. The President was represented by Boss Mustafa, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, retired, and the Permanent Secretary, State House, Jalal Arabi. The Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, received the bride on behalf of the Muhammad Garba Shehu at the event attended by the governors of Jigawa, Abubakar Badaru, Simon Lalong, Plateau State, Abubakar Badaru Kebbi, and that of Edo, Godwin Obaseki. The wedding Fatiha took place at the Enondo Mosque, Wuse, Abuja. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has joined family and friends of the former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, on his 87th birthday. The President Buhari, in a congratulatory message to the renowned diplomat, commended his efforts towards projecting Nigeria and also ensuring that the world comes to terms with the position of the country on global issues. The President extols Chief Anyaoku's statesmanship and unwavering conviction on the unity of the country, with his regular encouragement on Nigerian leaders to follow the path of honor in making sacrifices that will secure the future of the country and be remembered by posterity. The President prays that the Almighty God will grant Chief Anyaoku longer life, good health, and more strength to keep using his wealth of experience to serve the country. And Online Kojo is standing by for business news. Next is sports updates. We can't bring you business news now.
Grassroots sports take center stage in 2020 with series of competitions and programs lined up to aid the discovery of budding talents across the country by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development.
Apart from National Youth Games, we are going to be involved in the Headmasters Cup for primary schools. We are going to be involved in Principals Cup, which is for secondary schools. We are going to be involved more proficiently in Awesome Games, which is meant for military and paramilitary personnel in the country.
The main bowl of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, is agog with activities as about 80 para-athletes converge for a two-day national trials ahead of the International Para-Athletics Championships built for Dubai, March 14 to 17.
I'm hopeful because looking at the performance, what I threw, I think it's enough for me to be selected.
It's those that are sure that their speed is a particular limit, or the throws, there are high limits and lower limits, so it's not an all-comers affair.
The Dubai Championships in March serves as qualifiers for Tokyo 2020.